you support medically assisted dying for people who suffer from mental illness?
Yeah, that's incredibly complicated situation. I find in general, I think it's a positive thing. Often the media can kind of cherry pick individual situations that I don't think really reflect the overall picture. Um, so like I find that the controversy ends up happening where there's one person who's in a bad situation where things go or maybe it shouldn't, and then that becomes the symbol for the entire movement. But I mean, the issues with mental illness in terms of being able to consent to something like that, and it's just, I think it's too complicated for me to really have a strong stance on it.
A lot of mental illnesses can be overcome with the proper coaching and with psychological counseling. Right now, we have veterans coming back with PTSD or police coming back with that, and they have these service dogs to help them. So I think that when you experience love and support in your life, that you can overcome possibly most mental illnesses, unless you're born with some type of genetic problem, of course.
Personally, I don't, because I think that for mental issues, I still think that we should first make sure that everything is exhausted for help with that. And I think right now that help is not there. It's not enough help is there for the. So the easy way out is just to say, okay, well, let's do medically assisted, end of life and we should, I think, be not addressing it that way.
Are they in the state of mind to be able to decide for themselves that is really what they want? And how do you know that? Yeah, I don't know.
Yes. I think anybody has the right to die without any reason whatsoever. If someone who's clearly conscious says, I would like to die, that's their business and they should be allowed to die. Yeah, even if they're not sick, even if they're just tired of life, doesn't matter. If you don't want to be here, give them an easy way out.
You think of sound mind and body as enough of an excuse?
Yes. Anybody has the right to die if they want to. They can go kill themselves if they must. So why not do it in a more humane, civil way?
I think it has to be the individual's choice, but and I think this is where there has to be a very good evaluation. It's not just like I want to, I'm depressed, I want to die, one type of thing. But I don't want to say it's never applicable. But it has to be an individual, it has to be really well thought out.
Sir?
Same thing.
Yeah.
We always agree.
You always agree. But we had a gentleman saying that sound mind and sound body is enough reason. You don't agree with that?
I think people should have the choice. They do have the choice, right? No matter what we say, they have the choice, and people decide to die all the time. And the question is, do we want to help them? And again, I agree. There has to be a very careful evaluation.
Yeah.
And the thing about depression is that it is not constant. It gets better, right? So you don't want to make a decision to die when it might have gotten better.
I'm not in favor of it. I understand that people who are suffering and there's no possible cure, why they want to do that. I'm not sure a person that's mentally ill is cognizant enough to recognize what that decision means. I think that their advocate should speak on their behalf.
I have a lot of thoughts on it. I think that it is not necessarily the best idea to be like marketing it right now as here you go, medically assisted death if you're mentally ill. However, on the other hand, if you've been struggling with treatment-resistant mental illness for decades, for most of your life, and your quality of life has not improved in that time, I don't see why that's any different to a low quality of life from a physical illness.
Not from mental illness, it has to be a physical disease.
Why do you say that?
Because people can be in the depression, and believe it or not, you may feel there might be no hope, and then a month later you might feel there is. Whereas if you've got a disease that you're going to die from, you're going to die from it.
Well, we all have that right to do what we want to do. If they want to leave this world, well, then it's their right.
I mean, if they're sound enough to make that decision and it goes through the proper channels, through a psychologist and the proper people involved, then perhaps that's something to consider.
No, I don't. Definitely not. They should be offering a cure rather than an easy way out.
I understand that the hardships that it would that people would be going through, but I think that if someone's going through suicidal tendencies or things like that, I think what they need is more professional help.
Support.
Definitely not suicide.
I don't think death is the answer.
Honestly, I think medically assisted dying, unless the person is in like an excruciating pain and that's like provable they are in excruciating pain and at their later part of their life cycle, then maybe. But I do believe medically assisted dying is kind of a cop-out on the government to not pay for healthcare. But that's a little bit of a controversial opinion. So
sure, yeah, I think that medically assisted dying for mental health issues is it's just a matter of consent. So as long as the person is consenting to it, it's absolutely yeah.